Hello and welcome to another beautiful day on your Idea TV newspaper review. And I am Jacobs Deborah, and I'm not alone. I am with a co-host today, Mr. Gabriel.
Thank you for having me.
Please introduce yourself to people.
Well, I'm Gabriel Matthew Seriki.
And with us again is our able barrister, the law, popularly known as the law by me, Barrister Damisi. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be here once again.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes.
And to our viewers out there, this is your newspaper review on Idea Television. Like I would always say, to every headline lies a story, and to every story lies a punchy headline. And we'll be diving into our newspaper review, but we'll be starting our tech news today. So what do we have?
All right, on the tech news today, we're having Citigroup has announced it's expanding its research coverage to include private companies, primarily focusing on a fast-growing tech firm. This move aligns with similar strategy recently adopted by JP Morgan Chase. Citigroup plans to analyze about 100 influential private companies, especially in sectors like artificial intelligence, and providing event-driven insights, such as product launch in new business development. It says, however, their report will exclude prices, targets, buy and sell recommendation, or earning forecast. This is on the tech news that we are having today, and Citigroup has really announced its expanding research. You know, it's another medium of expanding the tech company. Mr. Jami, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, so I think it's a very good one. Financial institutions are beginning to come into the tech space itself, you know, opening research centers, saying that they want to invest into tech companies. And it's a good one. You know, Citigroup is one of the big financial institutions that we have around, just like JP Morgan.
JP Morgan's, yes.
Is also a very big financial institution. And them coming into the tech space, saying they want to open research centers, do a lot of work with tech industry. It shows how the world now is being AI driven. You know, even banks too are beginning to delve deeper into AI industries and all of that. So it's a good one. I think it's something that will help our world today move at a faster rate. And for Nigeria too, Nigerian banks too can take a cue. Financial institutions, they can, GT Bank, the UBAs, yes. They can begin to invest into tech-driven research that will help the Nigerian economy and help the society at large. Yes.
It's a good one. Deborah, do you have anything to say about this?
So, you know, as a barrister, I would always ask you from a legal point of view, what do you think are the legal risks actually surrounding this particular selective disclosure?
Yes, you know, once finance and tech comes into play, you know, people begin to ask questions about their money. Hope you not use the tech to steal to steal our money.
We hear of cybercrime, so
you hear of cybercrime, you hear of so many issues. But the major thing is that we can't do without tech in our world today. You know, the legal challenges that we pose to this kind of arrangement is if the tech-driven idea is not being, the consent of individuals is not being taken into cognizance. For example, if you are the financial institutions and they come up with a product that says that before you can transfer money or before you can do this, it has to be AI. AI will help us and do this and all of that. But if the individuals says to themselves that, look, I don't approve of this, I don't consent to this, then the financial institutions will back off. You understand? So those are just the legal implications. And it's just left for also regulatory bodies like CBN, that's for Nigeria now, international regulatory bodies also to regulate the use of these financial institutions and tech, AI-driven tech, so that they can come together and see how they can protect the users legally, not just that the financial institutions and the tech body just have a main sway on this. Yes.
Okay, we'll be moving into the next tech news, where we see that Microsoft has unveiled a new AI-powered feature called Copilot Mode for this Edge browser, aiming to enhance users' experience by simplifying tasks like web searches and organizing tabs by topics, and comparing context without switching between tabs. This development comes with a tech industry race to integrate artificial intelligence into web browsing, and with competitors like Google and Perplex AI, also launching similar tools. According to Microsoft, Copilot Mode combines chat, research, and navigation into a single interface and includes voice navigation capabilities. Future updates will allow users to grant Copilot permission to access browsing history and credentials, and enabling it to perform tasks like booking appointments, managing online errands more efficiently. And however, these features may actually activate users' consent to actually provide, just like you said before. The user consent is actually very important. Now, this is a beautiful thing, but when we talk about privacy concerns, do you think that there should be policies guiding both AI tools and all of these tech-driven companies? Are there policies, one? And if they are not, do you think, what kind of policies do you think can be implemented to actually help guide the data of these users?
Yes, policies are very important to protect the users against any manipulation or any foul play. For Nigeria, I know there are policies in place. We have a regulatory body. We have NITDA, regulating the use of tech, in AI-driven tech and all of that. I think more policies still needs to come into place, both in the world and also in Nigeria at large. We are talking about Microsoft launching AI-based products that will facilitate your user experience. Like I said in the previous tech news, that first and foremost, users' consent is very important for anything. That's why whenever you want to access a new product, you always see guidelines, and they'll say either you accept or decline. If a person goes through the guidelines and it says it declines, the person should be free from it. If you accept, yes. So that's one way. The second way is this data protection. Institutions, both abroad and even in Nigeria, so they need to watch these tech companies. What do they do with our data? If I provide you with my data, who do you send my data to? Do you send it to foreign bodies? Do you send it to spy agencies? Where does my data go into? They can say, oh, your data is encrypted, oh, it doesn't go anywhere. But regulatory bodies in Nigeria and also in the world at large, government agencies, they need to watch this tech industry, the tech companies, so that they don't misuse people's data. People, recently, not too long ago, someone accessed WhatsApp, accessed one of the groups I joined on WhatsApp, called me and said that we're having a meeting tomorrow, that there will be this thing that will be sent to me, a code that will be sent to me. I should call out the code. I just switched it off. If I had called that code out to the person, that's it, they would have had access to my WhatsApp. So these are things that need to be.
Serious cyber crime.
It's a serious.
It's a serious issue because the policy that as you're just explaining something, I was just trying to understand, like, okay, if there's a good policy and what our data is being used for, just like what you're saying just now, is it being diverted to being all these fraudsters or criminals?
Exactly.
You understand? Yes. So there should be a policy, things that will govern this area of
and also punishments.
Punishments included.
If our data is being used for other this thing, maybe you
should be penalty for it.
Penalties for such breaches.
Exactly. The funny thing is that because of Microsoft is being involved in this stuff, it's not more just a personal. It's not just personal data that are being released. Companies data are being released. Industries, their data are being released, and
collectively.
As a nation, there are so many things that you might do, and you just use the Microsoft to actually document some things. And if Microsoft is going into this, oh my God. I can't imagine the data that will actually be out to be able to. That's a big cyber crime. But anyway, we'll be moving into our newspapers, and the first newspaper I'll be looking into is the Punch newspaper front page, where we see that 2027 APC kicks as opposition backs single-day polls. That story can be found in page 2. Beside it, in page 38, we see that federal government launches crackdown on MDAs after 300% surge in impute claims. And beside it, we have that the US-British tourism crackdown sparks Nigerian hospital reform calls. And we're going into that particular news. In that news, we see that the recent warning from the United States mission in Nigeria against traveling primarily to give birth in the U.S. have stirred a strong reaction and renewed calls for hospital and economic reforms in Nigeria. The U.S. has stated that anyone suspected of birth tourism traveling with the main purpose to secure American citizenship by their unborn child could be denied visa, and the move announced by the U.S. Embassy is actually official on social media platform, emphasizing that the act is against immigration policy and will be treated as visa fraud. Now, the US may be threatening the borders of Nigeria, but personally, I feel like this is like it's just a mirror and reflection of the failures we face as a public health and governance country, because the fact that you go out just to give birth and make sure that your child has a citizen certificate from another country, it just shows that you do not want your child to actually be a citizen of Nigeria. Yeah. Beyond the fact that, yes, of course, because it's your child, you can actually gain a citizenship from Nigeria. The most important thing on your head is that the fact that you want them to gain citizenship from countries outside. I'm not saying it's will I say it's bad or it's not bad?
No. It's not bad.
It's not bad, yeah. But it's, in a way, it shows that you're trying to say your country does not have a strong, like this particular news was focusing down on medical and okay. Personal improvement when it comes to country. Okay. So the country is not actually very strong personally and medically, and that's the reason why most of them, the US actually feels that we leave our country to come and give birth in the US country, and it's actually a bad, like I said, it's a bad presence in actually going out to say because of that. But what do you think are the policies that can actually be put in place to make sure that this, yes, like we said, it's good to actually have the citizenship of other countries as well as your own country? But what do you think are the policies that can actually be put in place to address these economic and health challenges, healthcare challenges in Nigeria?
Yeah, so basically, you just need to make the country better. That's just the
We've been talking about
that's just the basic truth, because medical tourism will not stop in Nigeria, at least for the foreseeable future, for the next foreseeable future, because a lot of people, once they see Nigeria as a dead whole nation, as not economically viable, so they would rather want to go abroad and give birth, let their children at least become citizens of the US, of the UK, of Canada, you know, and also the poor health facilities we have here in Nigeria, as was reported in the newspaper headline. The poor health facilities here in Nigeria too also contribute to this. Exactly. So if there are policies that needs to be put in place, the funniest thing is the people who meant to put these policies in place also do go abroad too for them. But if there are policies that are to be put in place, the major policies, let's make our country better. Let's make our country economically stable. Let's make our country economically viable. Then also, let's improve our health systems. Let's improve our health sector. The mortality rate in Nigeria is very high. A lot of people a lot of women that want to give birth, if you look at the statistics, it's very, very high. Very high. They want to give birth and they die in the process of childbirth. I mean, it's terrible. So our hospitals are not well manned by professionals. You know, there are no much good systems, no good machines in place to be able to help women. You know, there are times when, you know, you never can tell. A woman can just go in pregnant and have a lot of complications. Are there good professionals, expert professionals to take care of her? Are there machineries enough to take care of her, you know? And so these are the things that the government needs to look into. Then make the economy good. Nigeria is a country where, you know, we have a lot of young people. About 70% of our population is below the age of 18 and all. And you look at it, the parents will look, oh, what are the opportunities available for in Nigeria? People, yeah. But if I go abroad and my child is a citizen of USA, at least I know that he can go to US and go and enjoy himself. Yes. And so, but,
you know, sorry to cut you. I just want to chip in something like another policy that can actually make this stuff stands as in terms of our medical teams, and they should be taken care of. You understand? They should be catered for, because some of these doctors, they are not being catered for. So they believe if they go to other countries, they cater for them, and they don't. The amount of money they pay them there is quite much to the one Nigeria pays here. back here at home. So if these policies were to put in check, they should also be looked into. The medical, the doctors, the nurses, the medical teams. You understand?
Should be taken care
Should
of.
be taken
as
care
well,
of,
so
and
that
so that they can be
don't also-
motivated more.
yes, some of them, they travel out to
For greener pastures.
Actually, like you said, they have more opportunities. Opportunities in Nigeria is based on who you know and who you have up there. But the opportunities outside, like you said, is actually more open to everybody. But in all of these things, it's just a way to actually speak to Nigerians and say to them that you should actually trust your country, despite the fact that it's good to actually gain the citizenship of other countries. Your country is very important. I'm a proud Nigerian. I'm proud African.
Very, I'm proud.
I feel I even like the fact that I am first in Nigeria before any other citizenship can actually come into place.
Exactly.
Okay, the next big headline, we see that the federal government may sell 11 discos to new investors. We have seen that the federal government may re-privatize Nigerians' 11 electricity distribution company, discos, if they fail to inject a fresh capital into the sector within 12 months. This proposed in Electricity Act Amendment Bills of 2025. The bill sponsored by the senator has currently before the National Assembly aims to overhaul the existing Electricity Act of 2023 and close regulatory gaps. If passed, it will be given to Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission (NERC) the power to dispute shares and place company under receivership or intimate full reprivatization of defaulting discos. Now, the impact will be proposed on Electricity Act, this amendment bill, and it actually has, it's like you said, we've been reading, it actually has a serious impact on power sector, especially on the forming discos forced into representation and all of that. Now, I'm always acting from a legal stand of view. What are the challenges you think that can rise that from enforcing this particular bill by the government? What are the challenges you think?
So the bill is not yet passed. Hopefully it gets passed within this year. I think it's the second reading now in the National Assembly, in the Senate. So it gets to the House of Reps and it's being passed. But the major issue is once it is passed, and it is assented by the president, it becomes law. So basically, the only issue that will arise is implementation of the bill, of the act that has been passed. And one of the striking challenges with the previous or the discourse presently now is that there have been a lot of subsidizing from the federal government, and the federal government is owing this discourse, these distribution companies a lot of money. So if you definitely privatize and you push this discourse away, who is going to pay them what you are owing? Is the federal government still going to pay them? So it's just implementation challenges. They're also proposing that it should be done within 12 months, and some people have argued that instead of 12 months, it should be 24 months. So we are talking about the implementation of the new act. Will it be possible? And like for every other law that I always talk about in Nigeria, every other policy, the major issue is implementation. Once it is passed into law, the president has assented, it has become law. Everybody knows it has become law. But how is it possible to implement this at a fast rate? Power sector has really gone through a lot of problems in Nigeria with all the investment, with all the laws that were passed. 2023 is when they amended this act. Now 2025, you want to bring in another new amendment again, new act again.
So it's not making any changes. There's no changes.
There's no change. There are so many bills that have not been implemented. It's much in Nigeria. I think if they say no, we can look into this implementation. That is where the major drive is. I mean, as in how is it being implemented?
That's the crux of the matter.
At the top of the daily independence, there is a Tinubu borrowing 10 times worse than Buhari ADC. Tinubu's borrowing 10 times worse than Buhari ADC. You can get that on page 6 of the Daily Independence. Then we also have court dismisses INEC's bid to overturn judgment on electoral offenders. You can get that on page 7 of the Daily Independence.
Going back to that Tinubu borrow.
That is on the page, I think on the page 6. It said Tinubu's borrowing 10 times worse.
That was one of the questions I asked you on this show. Can we come to a city? Is there any government that has come on city that has not borrowed?
Like it's crazy.
It's for
From
now.
both external and internal.
For now, the way the Nigerian government is being run, we are being run by borrowed money. We can't speak, and the reason why we borrow a lot, like I always say, countries borrow. A lot of countries, even the USA, they borrow.
Of course.
Every country borrows money. But the major issue with Nigeria's borrowing is that we do not produce.
Exactly.
We are not a production-based company, a production-based country rather. We are not a production-based country that can export. And once we are unable to export, we just see ourselves we are importing. We are just consuming. Every country consumes. We are not even the biggest consumers in the world, but we don't also produce, which has been our problem. And Tinubu now has brought in a lot, even with the removal of subsidy and everything, he's still borrowing a lot of money. Even the monies we are borrowing, what are we using them for? It's not just the president. I always say this, let's not even focus on the president. Governors, they are making a lot more money than before. What are they doing with their money? And that's
so like on the production aspect, what do you think can be put into place for this production aspect of Nigeria not being productive?
Yes.
As in, what can they put in check?
You see, so there's a news there that's talked about SMEs, that's small and medium scale enterprises, all these small. Now, this is one area. I'm just going to talk about one area. Inject money into small and medium enterprises, small businesses. I tell you what, if you look at the president of America, if you look at, this is what they do. Small and medium scale enterprises, probably maybe someone wants to go into the production of t-shirts, maybe Ankara, you get, and he goes to a bank and he says he needs a loan. And you are giving him a loan, maybe you want to give him 1 million naira. You are telling him he should pay 2 million naira in the next. It's crazy. He won't be able to. He won't be able to cope. He won't be able to. So you need to inject money into the SMEs, small and medium scale enterprises. And these SMEs, what they do as they begin to grow, they also begin to make jobs available for people.
For others.
And once you make jobs available for others, money is flowing in this. It's circulating. You get. So this is one of the areas. Then again, other sectors, your security sector. We cannot farm because our farmers cannot go to the farm because of they are killing them. Simple things like that. Our roads are not good. You get.
That also brings us to it's just keep progressing.
Yes. So these are the issues that we just compound, and you see that your country is not producing as it ought to produce. You get. So these are the issues. Dangote was talking about focusing on Nigeria first policy. Is also something we can look into. These are the small issues that the government needs to address and put in place for us to have a productive economy. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next newspaper front page is the Daily Trust newspaper, where we see that attacks on journalists raising current administration, report says. And we also see beside it that patients stranded as doctors in Lagos embark on strike. How NSCDC officers was stabbed and died in Abuja. And the big headline, we see that 2027 ANPP bloc insists on VP slots. It's presidential prerogative by Ali Modu Starif. That story can be found in page 28. And beneath it, we see that Tinubu gives Super Falcons highest reward in 27 years. Okay, back to the story of attacks on journalists raising under Tinubu administration. We hear that a new report by the Media Rights Agenda, MRA, has raised a serious concerns about increasing attack on journalists and their freedom of expression under the President Bola Ahmed administration, covering the first 2 years of his presidency. The report has documented that 141 cases where journalists, media workers and citizens has faced harassment or punishment for exercising their legal rights of freedom of speech. And most of these incidents were linked to the misuse of Cybercrime Act by the law enforcement agencies, especially in Nigerian police and the Department of State Service, DSS, who were responsible for over 48% of these reported violations. Now, when it comes to the media, we're always very, very much we are very much involved. The Media Rights Agenda has reported that this is a troubling picture to the press freedom and its civil right expression as a, not just as a citizen, but as a press institution, as a journalist, as a reporter. This has actually cut down on so many things, and it's democracy issues. Now, when passing this to the public, not just us as a press, but passing this particular thing also to the public, where the public cannot come out on social media platforms and have comments on most of these press online blogs, cannot come out to say what they feel like after, yes, to express themselves and opinion. I feel like there is actually a legal policy for this particular right, for not just freedom, but also for the media itself, media institution itself.
Yes, you know, even in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you have freedom of expression there.
Of course,
you know, people should be free to express themselves. Although the freedom, it's not an open blanket freedom where you just say you know, there's always the Constitution. There's always like a provision for maybe exceptions and all of that. But back to the story, you know, I always say, do our institutions, do they know the law? You know, DSS and the police, are they being taught the law? Do they know what the law states? Do they know that there is a law, a Cyber Crimes Act that protects journalists or protects citizens? That's the first question that we ask as regards this story. The second question we then begin to ask is, why is it that these institutions, police and DSS, they get away with these things? You see, when it comes to the Cyber Crimes Act, I believe that, like we say, I always say, implementation of the law is what is paramount, is what is important in this, as regards this story. Journalists are being attacked for expressing themselves. You don't just commit a criminal act because of you feel a journalist wrote a story against you. No, what you do, you follow the law. The law was created, yes, for you to now say the law should punish somebody. You follow the law. If someone defames you, you go to the court and say, this person has defamed me. There's also what we call criminal defamation.
Yes,
you can also take it to the right institution and they will follow the process. But in Nigeria, because you know power is power in Nigeria, you just use your power, intimidate people, go to journalist offices, carry away their system, cut away their systems and all of that. This will make for everybody to begin to work you won't be free again to express yourselves. You are working with so much carefulness and all of that. I just hope that things get better and the Cybercrime Act is being implemented better and all of that. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I was just trying to analyze and just imagine that without the journalists there, the press, the medias, as in how do we then communicate?
Yes.
To the public, let them see that. I just imagine, you understand, to contribute their own quotas, because you can't just harass them and you feel that okay, because they are doing this and they are not favoring you probably, you know, or maybe they are not bringing the news that we want to hear, because at times I discover that there are sentiments to stuff like this.
Yes.
You know, I believe they should be granted the freedom, and it can't be stopped. The press and the journalists and the media, it can't be stopped because it's something that have come to stay, and to make the impact in transmitting news and current things and bringing the updates to the people the people that cannot even afford to be to get there, to be in the limelight of okay, I have to have a phone now, or I have to get this before I could be able to communicate. You understand, how to reach the government. The press, they bring the news to the people,
exactly.
The medias, the journalists. So I believe they should not be harassed or and cut off.
Open freedom of speech.
Okay.
Because of our time, we'll just go through all the newspaper headlines we've actually looked into. We looked at the Punch newspaper, where the federal government will sell 100 discos to a new investor. We're supposed to look into the Independent newspaper, where Nigeria's SMEs struggles under heavy low lending. And also the Peak newspaper, where Super Falcon presents WAFCON trophy to President Tinubu. And next newspaper was supposed to be The Nations, where Ekiti ex-government endorsed Tinubu Oye Banji. And also we looked at the Daily Trust newspaper front page, where the 2027 ANPP blog insists on BP slot, And the last but not the least that we're supposed to look at was the Vanguard newspaper, where Tinubu gives each Falcon players $100 honorarium by the house. This is a very beautiful thing, but because of the time, we were supposed to talk about our
that's super Falcon. Yes,
our victory.
it's a serious trending page. It has been on the front page of almost the whole.
Beautiful thing, gifts coming from left hand side, and that's a good thing, showing that Nigerians are actually supporting their people, their representative. When they do something good, say when a child does something good, you pat the child so that the child can do.
And
so as fathers, if they are doing this for us, it opens way for other football or other sports agencies to actually want to push in. But anyway, we have come to a close and an end of our newspaper review on Idea Television. And like I said, we had in the house our able representative of Idea Television, Mr. Gabriel, and we had the law barrister Damisi expressing different newspaper review. Join us same time tomorrow, if you will be joining us by the grace of God, right, sir? And do well to follow us on all our social media platforms, especially our YouTube page on Idea Television, and do stay tuned to this station as we bring you more innovative programs after this. And remember, like I would always say, stay informed, stay safe. Bye for now.